So how was that? I mean, I was pretty hot over here.
It was interesting.
Interesting?
I heard a lot of smooches.
I know.
I'm like, where the fuck is that sound coming from?
Oh, you hear things.
Every season I complain about this, and every season productions still do the same thing. If you're going to bring all the girls, then also bring all the guys. What's the purpose of bringing people that are 27-year-old and then you bring in a 22-year-old who's there for a great time and just for a holiday when you have someone who's seriously looking for a relationship? Make that make sense. Ace is there for a good time and is going to enjoy himself until they send him home. And I don't know why this girl is in the villa. Seriously, Bella, I think Bella should have stayed at home. I think she should have stayed her bum at home, because at the end of the day, if she is the type of person who says she doesn't kiss on the first date, blah, 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 this is the villa. Anything goes. So if you're going to come into the villa, then be ready to go with the flow. Anyway, I digress. I loved the two new bombshells. I think they're cute. I really think they're cute. I'm sad about their age. If we have 27-year-old girls, then bring in 29-year-old guys. There's no point in bringing them in for these guys that are still there to enjoy themselves. Anyway, I digress. Hey there. Thanks for stopping by. It's your girl, Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. Click the like button. Turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island USA Season 7 Episode 1. Everyone, it's Love Island time. Just a disclaimer before we start. I try not to do previews of the participants before the show starts, just because I don't want to be biased. I understand there's a lot of things that have been going on the social media about this cast, and sadly I have no idea, and I've tried to stay away from finding out exactly what's going on. I know I heard a rumor that someone, I think, someone didn't like people of a certain race, and the other one, I think, was a Trumper or something, but I haven't watched them, or I haven't followed it, or followed the TikToks, or even on Instagram to sort of find out what's being said. So if I don't mention what you expect me to mention, just know that I try to be unbiased. I try to judge these people by the way they behave on the show. I try not to sort of make any sort of preconceptions of them prior to the show sort of affect how I review them. So I know some people might be offended by that, and I'm sorry. Anyway, so looking at the cast as they come in, as we saw that little sort of dance musical, whatever thing they did, it looks like the producers are trying to aim for what they had last season, which sadly I don't think they can ever replicate. And I don't know whether they'll get as much success as they did last season, but that's just me just judging it. Anyway, first to come in, we have two girls. We have Shirley and Olandria. So Shirley is 27. She's a day trader from New York. I think she said she's originally from Florida, if I'm not mistaken. She says people are surprised that she's that smart, that she's a day trader. She's an open book. All you need to do is ask her and she'll answer you. I'm just like, that's a good thing. But then also always be mindful that not everyone has your best interests at heart. She says, it sounds like she's bi, although she's just said, I've dated girls and I've dated guys. I introduce myself as Shirley. I don't care whether you're bi, straight, or whatever. And then if we align, we align. So, hey, it's going to be interesting. I think the producers are trying to bring in what they did last season towards the end, where they had the two girls sort of hook up. And I think this is what they're aiming for. This is why they've brought her in. And she says, good sex is important. It's something that you cannot teach. I assume in every relationship it is important anyway, because relationships have broken up over that. Next up is Olandria. She's from Alabama. She says she loves a good Southern man, someone who will open doors, someone who will go ma'am, someone who's polite, respectful. And so she was very vague in her job. She just said she works in the elevator and escalator industry. And it's like, what do you do? Are you the receptionist, or are you the mechanic, or are you the CEO? Are you the accountant? Are you in HR? What do you do? I wish she had been more specific, but hey, it is up to her. She decides what she wants to divulge. She says, her mom had 3 kids at 21, and so her mom has encouraged her just to do what makes her happy and not think of what everybody else says. She's a first generation graduate in her family, obviously because her mom had 3 kids at 21. I don't know whether she would have managed to go to school, but then she might have done that once her children were a bit older. That's me sort of trying to stereotype. Anyway, we then meet Huda. Huda is younger. She's 24 and she's from North Carolina. She's a fitness coach, so apparently she owns her own business. And she says, she loves cutesy stuff. She loves writing cards. She loves gifts. She loves anything cutesy. That's her jam. She is the baby of her family, but at 19, she had a child of her own. So she's got a daughter and she's been single for 4 years. And it's like, why do we do this? Why do we do this? Dating shows for me and single moms are a bit of a sore spot, especially because not everyone is going to accept a single mom, and especially on Love Island. If it was Love is Blind, maybe. If it was Married at First Sight, maybe. But on Love Island, people are there to have a good time. So I don't know how this is going to play out. And hopefully the guys are open-minded. You have the girls sit down for drinks. And I think because she felt comfortable with Shirley and Olandria, Huda was able to reveal that she's got a child, but she doesn't want anyone to say anything. And she's going to tell the rest of the group when she's good and ready. And I hope the girls respect her wishes. We meet the final 2 girls, and personally for me, I don't get it. So 2/3 of over half of these girls are 27 years old. And from history, Love Island has always tended to bring younger guys. So I hope they're not going to bring 19, 20-year-olds when they have 27-year-old girls. That doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, let me get off my high horse. Next up, we meet Bella A. She's 22. She's from Hawaii. And she says she was born in Oregon. She believes she likes to believe in positivity, or she likes to look at the brighter side of life, is the impression that I get. So hopefully the villa doesn't taint that for her. She says she's always happy, and she was in a long distance relationship, but the guy eventually just left her and, went on to somebody else. And because she's very loud, she says she wants someone who's going to love her loudly. And it's like, well, you're on Love Island, so you're going to get someone who's going to love bomb you, even though that's something I don't believe in. But if that's the vibes she's giving, she's going to get someone who's going to give her everything she wants. And then once they leave the villa, that's the end of the day. We meet Ulysses. She's 27. She's a mobile bar owner, and she says she lives in Miami, and she was in a 9-year relationship, which started at the age of 16, and eventually the guy left her for somebody else. And it's like, yeah, 9 years is too long for you to keep dating. I know you were very young when you started, but I don't think you would have expected him after 9 years to continue to date you without any promise of a future. I think at 5 years, that would have been her being 21. They should have had a conversation of, where do you see us in 5 years' time? And at that point, if he didn't have a plan, she should have left him instead of, but that was a relationship experience for her, but still, it sounds like it was very unhealthy. She says her mother, I think, was born in Colombia, she said. And so she says that she wants a guy who's going to spice it up in bed for her. She wants him to make it fun for her. So I don't know. She's going to have a great time anyway. So we can't wait to see what happens when they're spicing it up for her. We meet the next 3 boys. And for me personally, I called it because at the end of the day, they've got girls that are 27 years old and they're bringing 22 and 24 years old. I don't get it. Anyway, we meet Ace. So Ace comes in with Nick. Ace is 22. He lives in LA, and he says he owns a dance company. I don't know whether he's the guy I've seen on Instagram, the one who's always teaching people how to dance internationally. I don't know whether he's the one. I might be mistaken. I'm too lazy to go to Instagram to check. I might check at some point, or he might bring it up. Apparently he knows Shirley. They met outside a club in New York, but it didn't work out because she is from Orlando and he is from LA. And personally, I don't think that's it. I think their age. I think their age is just enough for me to say they're at different spaces in time, because boys mature slower than girls. So I think she's not it for him. He says he loves someone who's family orientated, someone who's goal orientated. He's one of six, so he's got 6 siblings. I think he said, he's one of 6. So I don't know. I think they should match him with the 23-year-old and leave it at that, and then move on and bring in someone a bit older for one of the older girls. Nick is 24. He's an RN. He says he loves spending quality time. He loves physical touch, and he likes to take risks. He's traveled around the world. He's been to 44 countries, and I'm thinking, oh God, I wish I was you. That's nice. At least, he's increasing his knowledge base. He says the patients like to tease him because of his curly hair. I don't know. We'll see how he plays out, but at the moment, there's nothing standard. He is pretty, don't get me wrong, but that's all it is for me. We meet Taylor. Taylor, I think they're trying to play on Bergie, because Taylor is 24. He's from Oklahoma. Apparently, he's a rodeo competitor. He's going to vet school. He didn't tell us whether he wants to be the vet himself or he wants to be the nurse. So I don't know whatever he's going to study. He says he loves horses, and he had a horse as a child. His granddad, I think, gave him horses. His red flags are women with ugly feet. And he says that's because, if you can't look after your feet, then how are you going to look after yourself? I was like, well, you could always pay for her to get a pedicure if the feet are that ugly. Why don't you do that? You must have money from competing on all those rodeos. So we see the last 2 boys come in. First, we have Austin, who's 26. He's from Florida. He calls himself a pool boy, but then he calls himself a pool technician. I don't know what the difference is. He wants a big family, and he wants plenty of kids. He's very good looking, but I don't know. I think he's going to be lost in the sauce. I don't know whether he's got enough personality to sort of stick out. We then meet Jeremiah, who's 25. He's from LA. He's a model. He also says he works as a cable boy, if I'm not mistaken. He says he's a nerd and he likes to read books. And he's also a gamer. He's dated. His longest relationship was 1.5 years, but then it ended with cheating. He wants a woman who's strong. With strong emotional intelligence, and he also wants a girlfriend. And so I don't know whether he's going to find this in the villa, unless he is just saying what he feels the girls want to hear. Oh my God, I completely forgot to say that Ariana Madix obviously is hosting again this season. They must have really liked her last season. She seems like a fan of the show, whereas Sarah, it was more, she's in presenter mode, she's an actress and she's just filling in. And so I guess it makes sense to go with Ariana Madix. It does make sense. Anyway, so Ariana then tells the guys that they are going to couple them up. So they still have the hearts. So they have the hearts, and then the girls are told that you will have to go over and kiss 2 guys and then make a choice of who you want to couple up with. I think that concept sort of came from Love Island Australia. Oh, but they had the same thing last season anyway. So it's nothing new. And so I wish this season they'd twisted it round. I wish they'd got the guys to be the one to choose or to kiss the 2 girls, and then have the girls pick who they wanted to couple up with, because we've already seen this side. So it would have been nice to have a bit of a twist to it. That would have made more sense, in my opinion. Anyway, first up, we have Shalice. She is the first one picked because it was a random pick. So you had her be picked. So she first kissed Austin, and then she kissed Ace, and then she decided to couple up with Ace. I think she chose Ace because of the fact that they had a history. So it makes sense that she wants to be comfortable first of all and choose someone who she thinks she knows and is a comfort zone. I think she also assumed that people knowing that they have a history, they wouldn't pick him, but her mistake. Next up, we had Hoda. Hoda went in. She kissed first Jeremiah, and then she kissed Ace. Ace wasn't happy that he was the second pick. However, she ended to be kissed, or he was second to be kissed. You had Hoda decide to couple up with Jeremiah. I think they made sense as a couple. They really do. So it's going to be interesting to see how they navigate that, whether they're going to stay together or they're going to sort of switch up at the next recoupling, or someone is going to come in and steal, Jeremiah. Next up was Bella. Bella decided to get the guys to give her a peck on her cheek because she said she doesn't kiss on the first date. Hey, to each their own. So she decided to go. First of all, she went for Taylor, and then she went for Nick, and she chose Nick. Am I surprised? No. I think she didn't like either one of the guys, but she didn't want to kiss them, so she decided to use this as an excuse. You could tell the rest of the cast was side-eyeing her because it didn't sort of align with the purpose of the show. Anyway, Olandria was next. She kissed Nick, and she also kissed Taylor. Well, she kissed Taylor first, and then she kissed Nick, and she chose to couple up with Taylor. It makes sense because she said she wanted a Southern guy, and he is a Southern guy, so that was a no-brainer. Ulysses was last, and Ulysses was told you can do a twist to it, so do whatever makes you comfortable. I think this was a producer move. I think producers told her who to pick. That way it would make it more interesting. So she went and she kissed Ace, and then she kissed Jeremiah. Jeremiah refused to sort of be kissed on the lips. Instead, he offered his cheek, so she kissed him on his cheek, and then she chose to couple up with Ace, which then meant that Shalice didn't have anyone to couple up with, and so by default she was left with Austin. And I'm side-eyeing it. It's like, are we doing it because we think since they know one another they might have pre-planned this, or what is it? So after the first coupling up, Ariana Maddox leaves, and when she leaves, you have people go into their little couples sort of and wander around the villa. And for me, this is very awkward in the sense that I feel like this has been set up for drama. I think some people have gone with the safe option, whereas everybody else has decided to be dramatic. And sadly, I think this is going to end up in tears. I can already see Kayla and what was his name from Aaron from last season, in the sense that Hoda and Jeremiah is going to end in tears because Hoda's a single mom. She hasn't told this guy she's a single mom, and they seem very smitten with one another because they went around the villa with Shelly and Austin, looking around and seeing all the new spaces. And it was surprising that when they walked into the bedrooms, the names were already there. And so it makes me question how long were they outside while production was sort of sorting out who sleeps where, because at the end of the day, they have to stick on the names of people who's lying where. And so I would assume they were outside for a very long time after the coupling up, and then they were eventually brought in, but the edits make it seem as though they went exploring the bedrooms immediately after. And so you had these conversations going on. Shirley sat down with Austin. Austin was asking her, how do you feel about coupling up with me? And I love that she asked him that if you had the option, who were you going to pick? Who would you have kissed? And he made it seem like he would have still kissed her, but he also said he would have kissed Bella. And it's like, okay, if that's what you want to do. Hoda and Jeremiah are smitten. They really seem smitten. They really seem like they found their person, and this is where they are going to be. Bella and Nick were a bit vague for me. I didn't quite understand that. And then Olandria and Taylor, they were smitten as well, because Olandria was saying she wanted a cowboy because she's really struggled with city guys. He says, she reminds him of her mother, her values and whatever. And it's like, when you say she's sort of aligned with your mom, does that mean she's giving you friendship vibes or what? Make it make sense. Yulissa, although she chose Ace, I think likes Yulissa, but Ace at the same time, I think he's trying to be a good boy. So he's going to fake as though he's not interested, because he was saying, as much as they really get along and they have a lot of things in common, he's not sure whether she's it for him because there's no spark. And it's like, okay, if that's what you want us to believe. You then have the boys sit down on their own and the girls sit down in the dressing room. And so they're having conversations about their coupling and sort of wanting to find out where everybody stands. And everyone is very curious about the connection between Ace and Shelley, because they say they met before coming into the villa. And it's revealed that, they were at the birthday and he tried, I think, to pick her up. And that gives red flag vibes for me. I wouldn't want anything to do with him, because if he's going to meet a girl on the first night and already he's ready to go, it makes me question what is going to happen next. What is he going to do next, in the sense that, is he just going to dump me and move on to the next girl? The boys were trying to wind up Jeremiah because it seems Jeremiah appeared smitten, and they're sort of questioning his motive behind refusing the kiss and why he was more sort of leaning towards Hoda? Was he doing it because he felt safe around her, or did he really feel something there? And he was trying to make it seem as though, he's got a connection with her, he really likes her, and so he's going to see where it goes. Hoda is also saying the same thing to the girls, and it's like, I feel like Hoda is moving too fast, because even when they got in bed, she was already making out with this man, and it's like, there's baggage that comes with you, Missy. You can't just be jumping the gun like everybody else. You remember that you have a child. You need to see whether this man, if you really are after a serious relationship, is he on board with that, or is he just telling you what he feels you want to hear? If he's not on board with it, then maybe keep it stepping and wait for your person to either come in the villa or meet you in your DMs. So in the morning, you have the guys in the kitchen. I always find the breakfast on Love Island annoying, in the sense that I always question why the boys are always the only ones that make breakfast and the girls don't get to do anything for the guys. You have Bella receive well, it's, I don't know if it's toast or it's a peanut butter sandwich or something like that. And the rest of the girls were just cheering her on and they were excited for her. There was this conversation between Hoda and what's her name? Oh my God, their names is already slipping my mind. So there was Ulysses. So there was this conversation between Ulysses and Hoda, and everyone can pick up that, it seems Hoda really is into Jeremiah. So it's going to be interesting to see how that sort of progresses. You had Nick and Ace play table tennis, and they were having conversations about how Ace felt about being picked by two different girls to be kissed, and also how he felt about being stolen. And so he sort of gives the impression that he sort of saw it coming to some extent, but also he was surprised that she stole him. I think people are playing it safe. I think everybody doesn't want to go home, so I think they're going to be telling each other what they feel they want to hear until they either find their type or until they find somebody else that they can lash themselves onto. With Nick, he says, he really liked the kiss, so he's really into, exploring things to see how far things will go for him and Alandria. But also at the same time, he's happy to be in a couple with Bella for as long as that lasts. You then had this conversation between Charlize and Austin, and that's a typical sort of gameplay couple, in my opinion. I think Ace is going to tell her anything and everything that he feels she needs to hear in order to stay in a couple with him, because he knows for a fact that none of the other girls are feeling him, especially with the way that they didn't kiss him. On her part, I think Charlize is trying to play it safe as well, because she told this man what she felt he wanted to hear. She said she's not normally into introverts, but she's open to the idea of exploring something different. All the girls in the villa agree that they're there to explore connections and see if they can grow something with somebody else. So it's going to be interesting to see who eventually couple up and sort of get to the end as couples. I know there's going to be a lot of strategy, and especially with people having seen how successful the cast from season 5 were. A lot of people are going to be strategic in wanting to remain in a couple. That way, when they leave the villa, they are able to make a lot of money with whoever they couple up with. At the same time, it's interesting to see how people are already sort of sizing each other up and thinking this might be my next move, or which is more strategic in regards getting myself some clout and getting myself opportunities once I leave the villa. The little country couple are really cute. They really are cute for me. They're giving me Serena and Cordell vibes. That's the impression that I get. And I really hope they're serious about one another, because it would really be sad if, it doesn't work out. Although there's a 3-year age gap, so I don't know how that's going to play out. Anyway, so Olandria and Taylor, they go to the area where last season we had the whole whatever fight between Serena and Cordell. I'll keep bringing them up. Anyway, so they have this conversation whereby they're a bit suspicious, because it seems they have a lot in common. Olandria is a bit worried that this guy is just telling her what he feels she wants to hear. So she's worried that he might not be as into her as she is into him. I think on his part, he's into her. I think Taylor's definitely into Olandria, but he's trying to play it cool because he doesn't want to find himself in a situation whereby she's going to get the ick because he's making too much of an effort. So I love their little chat about fishing and stuff. They seem to understand each other's language since they both come from the South. And I think that's what they have in common. So a lot of things that other people might find a bit they sort of have in common, and they understand when the other person says the same thing. You have Hoda and Jeremiah go for a conversation. Hoda and Jeremiah, for me, it's really sad. It really is sad. It's going to end in tears. And I always say this, that when you have a child, be with someone who loves children. Don't be with someone who doesn't like the same things as you like, because then it's going to be a bit of a struggle. Because yes, he is a bit older than her. Well, by a couple of months, as he says, by 4 months. I don't know whether he's as mature as she is and whether he is ready to date someone who already has a child of her own. He might have done so already in his former life before entering the villa, so we can't judge him for that. Anyway, they're having conversations about their lifestyles, and then it comes up that she lives in a 2-bedroom apartment, and he's curious because he wants to know, why does she need a 2-bedroom apartment? And she's very vague in her response to him, which makes him question, why is she not being honest? And I wish it hadn't been brought up, or once it was brought up, I wish she had addressed it. But then she said she wants to make sure that someone is really into her until she knows that she's not willing to sort of let people know that she's got a child. And it's like, ma'am, this is a different situation. This really is a different situation, because at the end of the day, I think her concern is if she tells him, then he's going to go and tell the other guys. And I have to give the girls credit for not revealing her secret, but I don't know how much longer this can be a secret between the two of them. You have Ace pull Shalice for a conversation. And personally, I think Ace likes what he thinks, or he's going for someone he thinks he's got a better chance with. I don't know whether he's really that into, Shalice as he's making out, or whether he's just doing it because he knows that's his safe option and that's his best chance of staying in the villa. That's the impression that I get. He's giving me, what's his name, vibes from last season. Kimball. What's his name? The guy who played with that girl. I don't know. So they have this conversation and he's sort of questioning her. How did you feel about me kissing somebody else? And she's, standoffish, because she says to him, I didn't feel any type of way. I understand that's the process. And so it's okay for you to kiss somebody else. I wasn't feeling any type of way. And it's like, yeah, that should say something to Ace. If he's someone who's emotionally intelligent, he should understand that maybe she's not as smitten by you as you are by her, or as you think you are by her. So I don't know how long that connection can carry on. I don't think they are each other's match. One, because of their 5-year age gap. That's quite a big gap. And it seems he's still out to enjoy himself, because he didn't pick up what Jeremiah picked up, in the sense that it might be disrespectful to my partner to kiss somebody else. So the idea that he's mature enough to sort of be in a relationship with someone who's 27 years old, I don't think that's his bandwidth. But I think he's going to continue to try and push it, because his goal is to be in a couple that lasts until the end of the show. That's the impression that I get. So the islanders get ready for the night, and then you have conversations start. Obviously, Austin pulls Shalice for a chat. He is worried because none of the girls, I think, seem interested in him. And so he knows that his only hope of staying in the villa is Shalice. If she dumps him, then he's gone home, and that's the end of the day. So Ariana Maddox arrives. I always call her Ariana Maddox, and just instead of saying Ariana arrives and reveals that, yes, yesterday there was a kissing game. People have had a day to sort of get to know one another. So it's time to play a game to see if people are still happy in the couples that they chose, or see if they want to recouple, or are open to exploring a connection with somebody else. And you already see that everyone is nervous. No one wants to be the first person sent home. So people are going to try and make their connections work for as long as they can, because no one wants to go home. Anyway, so they then come to a circle where they are sitting sort of away from their partners. They're sitting in hearts and away from their partners. And they're told that, you have to put blindfolds on, and if you're open to exploring a kiss with somebody else outside of your partner, lift up your hand. And we only have Nate, Shalice, Olandria, Ace lift up their hands. Everybody else, I think, is worried. So you have people like Jeremiah. Jeremiah is already the daddy of the villa. He doesn't want to shake the boat or rock the boat. So I don't know how long that's going to last. Anyway, So first up is Nick. He kisses Olandria. We know he really liked Olandria. I think he doesn't like where things are going with Bella. I think she's a bit too stiff for him. So this is why he's open to exploring. Besides, she's a bit too young for him, I think. That's the impression that I get. Charlize goes and kisses Ace. Why she continues to want to explore something with Ace, I don't get it. Ace is too immature for her. Ace is there for a good time. Unless she is there for a good time and wants someone who's going to be a security blanket, or she wants a plan B just in case things don't work out with Austin. That's the only impression that I get. Ace on his part was messy. He stood up, he kissed Olandria first, and then he went and he kissed Hoda. And it's like, this guy is here for a great time. That's what he's here for. And he's going to mess about if he's behaving like this on day one, unless he's going to eventually settle down if he stays in the villa. Otherwise, he's going to make this poor girl cry. Olandria on her part kissed Ace, and I was surprised. I was pleasantly surprised because I didn't know she liked him. I think she didn't kiss him because she didn't want to rock the boat with Charlize. So this is why she chose to sort of not kiss him and kiss the other guys. That's the impression that I get. I think had Charlize not gone for him, she would have gone for him. We then get to see the first new bombshells. First is Charlie, 27, from the UK. And we also have Sierra. She's 25. She's from Arizona. And it's like, oh, it's about to get messy. People are about to cry. Cry me a river. Anyway, so Ariana asks them to go around and kiss the islanders. So he starts off by kissing, Bella. He kisses her on the cheek. And then as he goes around kissing the girls, you can tell that the girls are happy. He must be a good kisser because they were all excited. You can see the smiles on their faces that, oh, they really like this guy. I don't think it... They all seemed happy. Even on her part, Yulisa was taken aback because Yulisa actually heard her man stand up and go and kiss other people, and she actually heard him be kissed by somebody else. So she knows she's not safe, and I hope she takes that as a sign and she goes for the bombshell. Sierra on her part kissed the boys, and I was surprised that Jeremiah was interested. He was interested. You could see he was excited. But at the end of the day, I don't think he wants to rock the boat. I think he is going to rock the boat the moment he finds out that his partner is a child. But at the moment, I think he's going to play it safe and keep going until, they get to the very end. The bombshells were then asked to go to the hideaway, and everyone took off their blindfolds, and it was revealed that there are 2 new bombshells in the villa. And so it's now time for everyone to decide whether they're happy in their couple or whether they really liked the kiss from the bombshell and are open to sort of exploring that further. And it was left on a cliffhanger. So I can't wait to see what happens once, people start picking. And it wasn't revealed who lifted their hands for the kiss. This is Love Island. Nothing ever stays hidden. So it's going to be messy once they reveal that Ace not only kissed, Charlize, but he also kissed Hoda. And I don't know how Charlize is going to feel knowing that this guy that she's open to exploring a connection with did that to her. I wish they could send in someone for Charlize, unless she ends up with one of the girls, because otherwise this man is really going to play with her and make her cry me a river. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Click the link in my video to watch my review from season 6. Bye guys.